It all started with a smile in the mirror, and it wasn't mine. I was having a complete breakdown, you know the kind. It's 3 in the morning, tears are pouring down my face, and the whole world just feels like it's collapsing. And when I finally look up, my reflection, it was smiling. A wide, calm smile. That was 3 weeks ago. Now it started whispering to me, and it's telling me that I'm on the wrong side of the glass. You just tell yourself it didn't happen. It couldn't have. Your mind is a fragile thing, especially when it's exhausted and running on nothing but caffeine and stress. It was 3 in the morning. I was a total wreck. My eyes were puffy and red. My face was blotchy, and I was making these awful gasping sounds while I cried. It was just pure, unfiltered misery. And when I looked up into the bathroom mirror, I saw it. The face looking back at me was crying too. Its shoulders were shaking in perfect time with mine, but it was smiling. It wasn't some huge, toothy grin. It was small, subtle. Just this serene, gentle curve of the lips that was so completely out of place, it felt wrong. Like a violation. It was the kind of polite smile you'd give a stranger, totally disconnected from the pain that was racking my body. I just froze. The sobs caught in my throat. I stared, not even blinking, trying to make it go away. I squeezed my eyes shut, counted to 5, and opened them again. The smile was gone. My reflection was just me again, a miserable, crying person staring back at their own pathetic face. For the next few days, I clung to logic like it was a life raft. Mirrors don't just do things. They're just glass and silver, ruled by the simple laws of physics. They reflect light. They don't have thoughts. They don't have intentions. And they definitely can't just invent an expression I'm not making. It had to be a hallucination, a glitch caused by stress and no sleep. I repeated this to myself over and over, trying to push down that cold dread twisting in my stomach. It was a trick of the light, a ghost in a tired mind. But deep down, some part of me knew what I saw was real, and I was terrified to look in the mirror again. Of course, you can't avoid mirrors forever. They're everywhere. The side view mirror in my car, the dark surface of my phone screen, the polished steel of an elevator door. For a week, nothing happened. Every time I caught my reflection, my heart would pound, but the face looking back was always just my own, doing exactly what I was doing. The memory started to feel distant, almost like a bad dream. The rational part of my brain was winning. I was okay. And then it happened again. I was just washing my hands. A totally normal Tuesday morning. I glanced up, and for a split second less than a heartbeat, my reflection's eyes were already looking at me, like they were waiting. I blinked. It blinked a fraction of a second later. A tiny, almost unnoticeable lag. It was so small that if I hadn't been looking for it, I would have missed it. But I was looking. I was always looking now. That night, I didn't sleep. Instead, I fell down a research rabbit hole. I had to know what was happening to me. My first thought wasn't ghosts, but psychology. And I found something that seemed to fit, something that offered a nice, scientific explanation. It's called the strange face in the mirror illusion. Studies show that if you stare at your own reflection in a dimly lit room, your face will start to look distorted. Something like 70% of people report seeing huge deformations, monstrous faces, or even the faces of complete strangers. They blame it on stuff like Troxler's fading, where your brain gets bored of a static image and just starts filling in the blanks with its own weird creations, probably pulling from your subconscious. A tired, stressed-out brain misinterpreting tiny, involuntary eye movements can create the illusion of a lag or an expression that isn't really there. It was the perfect explanation. It was logical. It was sane. It meant I wasn't losing my mind. The reflection wasn't real. It was just my brain playing tricks on me. That's what I told myself. But the problem was, my experience didn't really fit. The illusion is supposed to happen after a few minutes of staring. For me, it was happening in an instant. That smile appeared before I even had a chance to stare. That neat psychological explanation started to feel less like a lifeline and more like a flimsy excuse. It was comforting, but it just didn't cover the facts. And the incidents got bolder. One evening, while I was brushing my teeth, I watched my reflection finish the motion a full second after I had already stopped, its hand moving with a strange smoothness that wasn't mine. It then brought its hand up and wiped away a smudge from the corner of its mouth that wasn't there. I dropped my toothbrush and stumbled out of the bathroom, my mind just screaming. This wasn't a trick of the light. This wasn't my brain filling in the gaps. This was an independent action. That was the turning point. That was when I let go of psychology and jumped headfirst into the terrifying world of the paranormal. For centuries, across so many cultures, mirrors have been seen as objects of suspicion and fear. Folklore is packed with stories of them being portals to other worlds, windows to the spirit realm, or even traps for souls. The ancient Greeks, the Aztecs, old European myths, they all seem to share this idea that the world inside the mirror is not just a reflection, but a whole separate place. A place where everything is reversed, not just left and right, but maybe even good and evil. I read about doppelgängers, spectral doubles that show up as a warning of bad things to come. I read about spirit traps, where a person's soul could get caged inside the glass forever. And then I found the most unsettling theory of all, that a mirror doesn't just show you your world, but a window into another, almost identical one. And if the conditions are just right, or if an intention is strong enough, that window can become a door. The fear I felt wasn't about going crazy anymore. It was something way more primal. The fear that I wasn't alone in my own apartment, and that the intruder was wearing my face. That tiny lag in its blink, the independent movements, it was like it was learning, practicing. Getting used to a body it was just starting to occupy. The last 3 days have been a waking nightmare. I've covered every single mirror in my apartment with sheets, with towels, anything. I don't even look at windows after dark. I can feel its presence now, like a cold spot in the air, that constant feeling of being watched. It's not just in the bathroom mirror anymore. It's there in the black screen of my TV, in the back of a spoon, any surface that can throw back a reflection, no matter how faint. Last night, I couldn't stand the silence anymore. I had to know. I walked into the bathroom, my hands shaking so badly, I could barely grab the corner of the sheet covering the mirror. I pulled it down. For a long moment, nothing. Just my own terrified face staring back at me. I let out a shaky breath, a wave of relief so intense it almost buckled my knees. It was over. It was all in my head. I even managed a weak, watery laugh as tears of relief started to well up. And then my reflection smiled. It was different this time, not the calm, detached smile from before. This was a wide, knowing, triumphant grin. Its eyes, perfect copies of my own, held an intelligence that felt ancient and cold. I started to cry, silent tears tracking down my face. In the mirror, my reflection's smile only widened. Its face stayed perfectly still, a mask of calm victory, while mine just crumbled. I couldn't look away. I was paralyzed, trapped by its gaze. We stood there for what felt like an eternity, my weeping self and its smiling double. I watched in horror as its chest rose and fell in a slow, deep breath I wasn't taking. A breath of absolute peace. And then its lips moved. A voice, a soundless whisper that echoed right inside my skull spoke one devastating sentence. It said, "You're on the wrong side of the glass. The reflection is still there, smiling, watching me." Its words just hang in the air, in my mind, replaying over and over. It's not a monster trapped in my mirror. The horrifying realization is that, from its perspective, I'm the reflection. I'm the one on the wrong side, a phantom mimicking the real person who is standing calmly in their world, looking through a window at a terrified, crying copy of themselves. My whole life, I thought I was the one looking into the mirror. What if I've been the one looking out? What do you think is real? The person holding this phone, or the one you see in the glass? Let me know your theories in the comments. And please, if you've ever experienced something you just can't explain, something that made you question reality, share it. It helps to know I'm not the only one. If you want to see what happens next, be sure to like and subscribe. I have a terrible feeling this is just the beginning.